I'd like to have a conversation with you. I'd like you to think about if you can tell me the difference between an advertisement and a story. Can you tell me when you're being told something versus when you're being sold something? Can you tell me if Lance Armstrong is a story about overcoming cancer research, is a story about overcoming cancer, or is he simply an advertisement for cancer research? Up until 2 weeks ago, I was confident I could answer this story. But in preparation for this talk, everything I believed, everything I knew, was stripped away from me. And I was left standing alone, vulnerable, unsure of one word I would say, and more importantly, why I would say it. It's fair to say this makes me feel incredibly uncomfortable. As a journalist and a storyteller, I spend my life telling stories. And I forgot the slide, so we'll just go right through that. I spend my life telling stories. And I ask two questions. Why am I telling this story? And why does the audience care? Those two questions are the key foundation to tell a story that can connect, can build emotion, can transcend time and space. These are the foundational questions of a story that I believe has value, a story that I believe can do good. These are the stories I strive to tell. But as technology has shifted and journalism has changed, I struggle with telling the stories I know will do well, based on analytics and keyword research, and the stories I think will do well, based on my gut, my experience, and allowing a story to unfold without disruption. But what does that mean, unfold without disruption? That means when I ask the first question, why am I telling the story? There's something more there than just a measurable metric. It means that if I ask the two questions, why am I telling the story and why does the audience care, they don't contradict each other. These are the stories that unfold. I might think I have an idea, but as I tell a story, it might change. And this is also where I've always clearly drawn the line between advertising, marketing, and storytelling. Storytelling is a story without a disruption. However, an ad is something that we tell with a predetermined ending. It's something where when we ask the question, why are we telling this story? The answer is obvious. Sell you a product, sell you a service, and make you feel as though you need it. But these two buckets were so clearly defined 2 weeks ago. How the hell do I go from this to standing up here and shaking? Not because I'm nervous to talk to you, but because everything I thought I knew crumbled. It started 2 weeks ago. After 5 to 6 years of really thinking about this topic, about 3.5 months of trying to write this speech, you can imagine I was pretty freaking psyched. And I ran into a friend at the kitchen next door. I was excited. Dude, I got a story to tell you, man. I got to tell you about this thing. And he just looked at me and he goes, all right, go for it. What are you going to say? And I told him. I said that people today, they just need a reason to connect. We're looking at all these messages and they're floating around, but we're not connecting. We're not finding something. We don't find an anchor point. I don't get drawn in. I don't find myself sitting in front of a story enough that I care about, that makes me question things, that really gives me the opportunity to think about who I am as a person. I could see looking at his face that I was failing miserably, and he didn't care. So, like a journalist, I just kept going. Dude, the opportunity isn't with journalism. It's with brands. It's with marketers. I have so many conversations with marketers where they're just struggling to talk to their audience. And to me, it's such an obvious solution. Let's not tell a story that unfolds with disruption. Let's not tell a story that has disruption. Let's tell a story that unfolds with disruption. I don't really care about that stuff, man. It's advertising. It works. Got an example? Sure. How about Nike? Nike's one of those custom companies that shows an advertisement, and if you take the swoosh off it, you might not even know it's for Nike. You might have seen this commercial during the Olympic Games. It drew you in. It probably gave you a reason to care. You found an emotional connection. I thought I nailed him that time. I was pretty psyched. No, It's just an advertisement, man. Totally wrong. It's the same ad they've been telling for 10 years. It's a lovable loser, and it's all about inspiration. I knew that at this point, I was so far down the hole that I needed to pull my ace out. What about Patagonia? Here's a company that when you open their catalog, you read about environmental concerns, first descents, lives of athletes. They don't sell me a jacket. They don't shove it down in my face. No, they're advertisements, man. And then he asked me the question. He asked me the question that fundamentally shifted everything I believe. Are the lives of Patagonia's athlete ambassadors stories, or are they advertisements? Simple, right? Stories. Of course they're stories. No one is a walking advertisement. And every one of their stories might end up messy. So when I go in to tell a story, I might not know the ending, and I might not know what's going to come. So I'm telling a story without distraction. You see it all the time in their catalogs. Didn't work. I don't think people care, he said. And then I realized it was something that so clearly defined me. Something that as a storyteller I have learned is one of the hardest yet most grateful things in the world to do, which is connect with somebody that I don't even know through a medium that I might not even know that they're interested in. Null and void. Is that okay? Have we been sold our entire knowledge base? Is there such a thing as a story? So tonight, I leave you with a question. The next time you see something that you think is a story, Finding Nemo. Is it an advertisement for Pixar that you can buy for $10? If it is that really okay? Does it change who we are? Thank you.